Jeez. Come on, come on. How often do you find yourself stood over a chip shot? You've got a great opportunity to get up and down for a par, but you fat it in front of your nose or you thin it over the back of the green. So frustrating, isn't it? Well, this week's Golf Lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to cover the #1 chipping action that you're going to need for 70 to 80% of your shots around the green. It's going to help you strike the ball consistently every single time. I'm also going to go through what clubs you should be taking from, because from this position it's going to be different to maybe a shot on the edge of the green over there. We're going to cover that as well. And also we're going to cover that horrible thick stuff when you're on the edge of the green. How do you play that too? So before I get into the video, look, if you're new to the channel, it's one of your first videos of mine, please consider subscribing. Just press that little bell button next to subscribe button. You get notified every time I release a video just like this one. Plus, I always put a free downloadable practice plan in the description box below, so you never have to remember a thing. Okay, look, how important is chipping? It is super, super important, isn't it, to keep your round going. We're all going to miss green, so you need to get up and down. Now, chipping is simply a shot where we get over rough ground, the ball lands on the green and then rolls beautifully out to the hole. Well, it sounds simple, doesn't it? Well, to do this consistently, you need to have a consistent strike. You need to be able to learn distance control. You also need to be able to learn when you're around the edge of the green and you've got some maybe dodgy lies, whether it's muddy lies or some rough lies, you need to know how to play them. That's what we're going to cover step by step today. So let's get started. Well, one of the advantages with chipping is it doesn't require any real power. So because of that, we can take advantage of that. The first thing I want you to realize is this: we could get chipping just from the edge of the green here, almost like a pendulum style motion, right? Now, what does this enable you to do? Well, if it's pendulum, it's a lot easier to hit the ball on line and very, very straight. So that's what we're going to start with. Get the club very vertical so that the heel's slightly off the ground. Feet together and allow your arms just to hang down. And you'll notice that the grip is going to feel very different in your hands to a standard shot. A standard shot, the shaft would be much more angled here and we'd have much more of a rotational motion. That's when we want to try to loft the ball high up in the air. But most of the time we have chips around the green, you just do not need to do that. Okay, so this is a simple shot. Arms hanging down here, ball goes towards the back of my stance here, my weight's on my front foot, and all I'm going to do here is this. I want to somehow create an action where it's almost like a pendulum, where my back of my wrist kind of goes back here, and then I simply release the club, a little bit like an underarm throw, right? An underarm throw. So we start off like that, and I'll show you some of the common mistakes that I see people make. So nothing complicated, simple little chip, just a simple, almost like an underarm throw. And look at how accurate that is, right? So where do some of the pitfalls happen? How do you strike it consistently from there? And why do people sometimes, you might find that you're fatting it or thinning it? Well, what I often see is a misconception of how we're supposed to strike this golf ball. What I want you to do now is look, I want you to look at the butt end of the golf club here. If you find that you're thinning it, often it's because the butt end is waving around too much and starts to go quite a lot backwards. And when that happens, look, you start to strike the leading edge of the golf club here, all right, with the butt, look, flying backwards. Now, I don't know about you, but I certainly was taught many years ago that, okay, well, the way to get over that is to then keep your hands forward and drive them forward. So if we do that, this is what then I see happens. We get the leading edge stuck into the ground, because suddenly now, look, when the butt goes forward like this, that's very sharp and gets stuck into the ground, and then we fat it. So what's the answer? Well, you've got to just appreciate how this butt works. What it does, it works in like an L-shaped fashion. So it doesn't work, that's your fat, that's your fin, it goes like this. Okay, so it's rising almost through impact. And when it rises, that then releases the golf club and releases the bounce. So the way you work on this, look, is this. Look at this motion. We don't drive, we don't flick, we do this. Bang. Can you see how the butt now is almost going upwards? And as this goes upwards, the club gets released like this. Right? So you just get the sense of the difference. And if you're a handle dragger, feel it and then do the opposite. There you go. Look, the club's going down, the butt's going upwards as I release this club. All right? Let's have a look at this in action. So get myself set. Release the club. Okay? Look how accurate that is each and every single time. So you've got it now. You've started to understand it. Your weight's forward, all the setups in position here, but you still mess it up. Now, why is it? Well, one of the biggest mistakes I see, in fact, my wife was doing this. She was still fatting it even after understanding this. And the reason being was she had too long and careful a motion versus what I call a more of a pop motion. Now, imagine this. If I threw a ball to you and I was too careful, the ball would never get to you. But if I have to have some form of pop, some release, some confidence in this motion. Now that clearly is going to come from, in a sense, letting go and just trusting on, being prepared to mess up. But what I want to see with your chipping action is watch this. Pop, pop. Look at how short my finish is almost versus long and loose, yeah? So when I get myself set up here, this is going to hugely help you, by the way, when we go to the rough in a second and we need to get through that rough. So we get ourselves set here and all we're going to do is just pop this ball. Okay, again, simple action that just releases up to the flag. Now, I'm using a 9-9 here because I've got a lot of green to work with. And therefore, all I want to do is to get the ball on the green and releasing out. Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to move up to the edge of the green, a bit further up, and show you a slight alteration in this particular shot. Come on, come with me. So, I've got my 56-degree wedge here. Now, I've gone from 9-9 to 56. And in doing so, what you see now, look, I'm on the edge of the green. So you can see it here, I've got a little bit of rough ground that I've got to get over. Now it's not thick rough, we're going to go into that in a second. But we need now the ball to be stopping up. If I took my 9-9 here, it would roll too far past the hole. So I'm not going to change my technique. All I've done is got my 56, ball's back in my stance as normal, and all I'm going to do, Nook, is just pop this ball onto the green in exactly the same way we've just been hitting that 9-9. Now watch this land and stop much shorter. Okay, super simple to get accurate. Now, the question is I often get asked on the channel, well that's okay Danny, you're on reasonable lies here, but what happens if I'm on a bare lie? I get loads of bare lies, like muddy lies. So look at this, let's put it on this mud. Look how awful that mud is here, right? So I'll move these balls out of the way. I'm gonna put this on pure mud. Now, if you've got great mechanics and great technique, everything works exactly the same. You don't have to worry about any lies. You get yourself set here and you just simply pop it. If you're too careful, yes, you're going to mess up, but just same principle, back and pop. Now watch this. I've actually struck it okay, but can you see how that ball's drifted out to the right? It had left to right side spin on. Now that's one of my personal problems, and what I've done there, I see this a lot with anyone who struggles to strike it sometimes, or struggles direction. I dragged the handle across the ball, wiping almost putting too much side spin on it. Now when that happens, I will become inaccurate, but for the average amateur, I should see this a lot, they lose their strike. So what I've got for you now is an awesome drill. Using the Callaway triple strike, you don't have to use this, but it's a great tool. I basically put the ball, and align this for practice, and align the triple stripe up to the hole. Now what this does is it gives me a wonderful way to kind of visualize how that club needs to attack straight, pop straight into the back of that golf ball here. If I wipe across it as I've just done there, I'll put left to right side spin out and I'll see that triple track spinning away to the right hand side. So all I'm going to do now is this, go for the exact same process, and I'm going to use the triple stripe as a visual to pop that club beautifully square through that ball there. Still a bit out to the right. So I go, okay, let's work on it again. Happy to the odd dodgy one here, just to show you. Back again. There we go. Beautiful, right? So that's what I would work on, just improving that ability and that consistency of strike, okay? So let's just see now what you do if you're in just a little bit of thick rough. So here you can see the ball's just nestled down. Now, remember, this is a chip shot. This action is going to be working all around the edge of the green when you want the ball to just chip up and release. It's not the action, by the way, which you're going to go much higher. Then we'll go much lower in the shaft. This is for, I would say, 80% of all your chip shots. It's going to save you a stack. So, same position here. I'm going to put ball back in my stance, hands forward, and all I'm going to do, look, with my 56, is again just pop that ball out of this rough and allow it to release. Just as simple as that. All we're doing is I'm not driving that handle forward, I'm not trying to lift it out, I'm literally allowing the gravity here to fall, look, on that golf ball here. In fact, doing one-handed exercise is a great thing to do here to get the sensation of this. So, let's summarize. Okay, so what have we done? we started off with your 9-iron, your chip and run here. No difference in the action whatsoever. All we do is we get the ball back in our stance. We get the shaft very vertical and take advantage of this pendulum style action here. We get our weight forward, we get our arms just hanging here with our sternum over the ball. That's your setup done. From here, look, we want a pop action where the butt, by the way, goes upwards like the letter L here. L. It doesn't drive down in a parallel line here, that gets your leading edge stuck in. It doesn't wave around here, that gets your leading edge blade in. All we're doing here is getting that lovely popping motion here. Bang, right? This is going to give you the accuracy each and every single time. What do you change for the kind of shorter shots or different? How do you control your distance control? Same principle here. Control your distance control with changing your clubs. That was a 9-iron because I've got a chance to roll it. When you're on the edge of the green, go to a 56. Remember some of the issues, even I have sometimes, where I open up my body, I drag my handle, I wipe across it. Maybe put a line on your golf ball. I use a triple track Callaways, just to kind of help myself visualize a very square contact, because that's the pendulum motion that we're after. Be confident with this. You're gonna mess up sometimes, absolutely fine, but do me a favor. Go and master this one simple shot. I've got a full short game series coming soon where I cover all the shots around the green, but this one action will cover 80% of your shots. It really, really will. Get stuck into it. Be prepared to mess up, because you will now and then, but really master the shot. Hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up. Maybe share it with one of your friends if you think they could benefit. And remember, you never have to remember a thing. I'll put a free downloadable practice plan in the description box below. And of course, look, if this was one of your first videos, consider subscribing to the channel. It's completely free to do so. But until next week, have a great golfing week.